Hey, hi, howdy do everyone. If you didn't know already, The Last of Us Part 2 is coming out like this week as the time of this recording, and I for one am very excited. I've been hyping a Last of Us sequel since the moment I heard of it, and it's so interesting because I actually have been working on a Last of Us video since before Last of Us 2 was even announced. I had a script and then I recorded a thing at some point, and then during a time period they announced The Last of Us Part 2. And I decided, hey, maybe I should just wait on this video. Maybe I should just wait for Last of Us 2 to come out. That way this video is as big as it can be and it generates all the SEO traction it can get. And that's exactly what I did, except the part where I made the video. Last of Us 2 is about to come out, and I intended for this video to be made. It's just the process of moving and all these other projects. I didn't get around to it, but I thought, hey, it doesn't need to be a sexy, fully edited video. I did the skeleton. I've had the skeleton of this video lying around. I thought I'll just throw some together here for y'all and be a nice C-tier video. Anyway, this is a video about when I was playing The Last of Us, a certain moment in the game that entirely changed the entire game for me, a moment of mortality in video games, a moment that kind of shook me to my core and made me rethink what video games can do and what I want from video games, etc. That is the point of this video. Anyway, let's get on with it.
Hey everyone, it's your boy Soul here, and today I'm going to be talking about a little game. You might have heard of it, it's probably off of your radar. It's a little game called The Rest of Us, or something like that. And I just thought I'd do a little analysis piece on The Last of Us, because despite this being one of the highest praised games of all time, despite it being on every gamer's must playlist, it's the top tier of gaming, it's the best fucking game of all time. Despite all that, I don't actually hear a lot of people talking about it or actually saying why it's one of the greatest games of all time. So I thought, fuck it, I'll do that. And usually when I ask other people, like, why do you love this game? Like, why is this game better than all these other games you've played? And usually the response to that very threatening question of why, it's usually along the lines of, it was just a really great story. Like, the details and the story, it was so good. Like, the rest was good too, but the story, it was just so good. And despite that being a very clever and smart analogy, I want something that actually says something. I need a reason as to why the story is good. Which, by the way, The Last of Us benefits greatly by being a part of a console generation that went from stories being about dark, brooding edgelords going on bloody trails of destruction and revenge to more complex stories about being a really good dad. Look at Jason Mars, he's a good dad, and therefore that's an excellent story. Look at Lee from The Walking Dead. He's a good dad. He's such a good dad that you forget he's not actually a dad. He's like a fucking murderer or something. But he's still a good dad. What are some other good dads? There's fucking Nathan Drake. He's a dad now, right? Yeah, look at him. But above all of these dads, there's my number one dad, my actual dad. We got Joel. And Joel was such a good dad that he didn't frown, he didn't go on that quest for revenge until like a decade after his daughter gets murdered. He waited until after all that time. He didn't immediately go out and find her murderers. Yeah, well, he could have. That could have been off screen. He probably actually did that. Yeah, that's probably why he's so comfortable with killing people, actually. But getting serious now, The Last of Us does have a great story because there are essentially two stories in The Last of Us. One is about a man who loses his partner and his daughter, and he finds refuge in this girl who is both of those things, and his responsibility is to take care of her and lead her to eventually leave his responsibility, and he has to, after all of those years of being alone and not having his partner and or daughter, he has to give up the person who represents those people to him. And on top of that, there's another story of a child learning reality, learning adulthood from the eyes of the apocalypse. She learns of the evil and the beauty that this world has to offer around every corner, and she has to decide and deal with the fact that she has to die in order for this crazy beauty to keep on going, despite she's not entirely sure it's going to get any better. But she believes because that's who she is. And it's actually a video game beyond that. There's actual shooting, there's mechanics, there's an online mode. That's pretty fun. You can dodge and cover and melee. You can melee. Meleeing is so fun. The stealth, it's all good. It's so good. But I remember the exact moment that after all that good gameplay, the moment that really made this one of my favorite games of all time. I wouldn't put it like top tier or anything, I wouldn't put it in my top 10, but it definitely earned its place on my list, and that was from one little moment towards the end of the game, which this is, if you haven't been spoiled enough already, this is about to get super spoilery, alright? Is everyone gone? Is everyone who doesn't know the ending of The Last of Us gone? The sheeple are gone? Okay, whoever's still listening, just know you're my crowd. You're my favorite. You're the bee's knees of viewers. I just want you to know that before we keep going. Okay, so during the ending of The Last of Us, there is a section where you are traversing through a barrage of bullets and people, and you are just trying to get to Ellie's room where they're about to perform surgery on her, and during this process I died a lot. Up to that room I died so many times that I became Rambo. Like, I went fucking Rambo, and I killed so many people. I systematically murdered each and every last one of them. I busted in the door. I was like Scarface. I just had my gun. I was like, what's up, motherfuckers? I was like, when Yusuke Urameshi has that spirit shotgun and it's just boom, 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 boom. That was me when I kicked in this door. But instead of a bunch of bad guy bodies that fell to my feet like in every other video games, the bodies that hit the floor, instead of that song playing and bad guys falling to my feet, there were surgeon doctors lying before me. And if you are not familiar how this scene works, in this room there are I think 4 doctors, and none of them are going to come after you. If you walk out that room, they're not going to chase you down and murder you. There's one guy who's holding a knife, who's going to kind of try to stop you if you get too close, because he's trying to save the whole world or something, I don't know. But I was in such a drunken video game rampage that I literally just murdered half of the people in the room. These poor would-be world saviors just fell to my feet, and I was Joel. Everything that he was feeling, all his emotions, his desire just to get Ellie, that was me. I saved her. I didn't care about the world. I was selfish to the bitter end. I picked her up, and god damn it, if humanity was going to take my daughter away from me, then god damn it, I was going to take a daughter away from humanity. And like Joel, those 2 bodies that I just kind of dealt with on my way to save Ellie, those bodies I've carried with me ever since I played that game. And I've gone through that scene so many times in my head, and I was so foolish that I did something that normally in a game I wouldn't do. I wouldn't just kill like, oh, these random innocent people that are part of the story that I don't have to murder, but I murdered them in a drunken rage. And I will never ever forget that, because that was when I treated my video game like a video game, and the video game turned around, slapped me in the face, and showed how realism can be presented in a art form. That is what I walked into when I entered that room. And that is why I love The Last of Us.
I guess you thought I never noticed that you were always lonely, and I would always hold you, so nobody could hurt you. I guess you thought I never noticed that you were always lonely.